Welcome to Restaurant Influencers presented by Entrepreneur. My name is Sean Walchef, founder of Cali Barbecue and Cali Barbecue Media. I want to give a special shout out to Toast, our primary technology partner at all of our barbecue restaurants here in San Diego. Thank you for believing in this show. Thank you for believing in smartphone storytelling. Today, we've got two very special guests. When we started this show, we wanted to think bigger as restaurants. We wanted to think bigger in the hospitality space. How does a barbecue company become a media company, get a show with Entrepreneur? Well, we do it by learning. And in order to learn, we've got to find the best of the best, the people that are playing the game within the game. Today, we have two of the best, and that's Jamie and Kayla Giovanzo of Eat Clean Bro. You can find them at Eat Clean Bro. They have 273,000 Instagram followers, 56,000 Facebook followers. They're on TikTok. They're all over the place. They're putting out content, but more importantly, they're helping people live healthy lives and they're building a profitable business. You guys, welcome to the show.
Thanks, man. Thanks for the intro.
Absolutely, man. We're super excited. So we're going to start with our favorite random question, which is, where in the world is your favorite stadium, stage, or venue?
It's got to be Madison Square Garden. Yeah.
MSG?
Yep. Yeah, without a doubt.
Okay.
What makes it the most special for me was when I started cooking for Lala. She put me on with Carmelo Anthony, and then he got me in with the Knicks. So then, like, right away, felt like this is awesome. I got to be back there, backstage, meet everybody, feed everybody. So yeah, Madison Square Garden, without a doubt.
All right. So we're going to go to Madison Square Garden. We're going to convince Entrepreneur. We're going to convince Toast. We're going to get Eat Clean Bro. We're going to get you guys sponsored all over, but we're going to get people that listen to this show, people that are playing the game within the game, the people that are moving their businesses forward. We're doing like a TEDx of hospitality. We're going to put you on center court, both of you. We're going to say, I need the Eat Clean Bro elevator pitch. You're pitching the entire stadium. I want to know, who are you? What do you do? And what are you building into the future?
Essentially, like, I just got done telling my leadership team, Eat Clean Bro is healthy, affordable, convenient. The mission statement since 2005, I've been cooking for a long time. I've been doing this for a long time, but ultimately those are three things that evolve with time: healthy, affordable, convenient. When I started Eat Clean Bro in 2013, Jared from Subway, that weasel, he was selling weight loss sandwiches. McDonald's was sponsoring the Olympics. So, like, in terms of what the public conceived as healthy has changed dramatically. People are starting to get more educated on how they should be eating. I was lucky to be one of the pioneers in this space. But for me, the 30-second elevator pitch, Eat Clean Bro is healthy prepared meals delivered to your door, no contracts, no minimum, high quality, great bang for your buck, great value, great food.
That's incredible. Can you give the listeners and the people that are watching on YouTube an idea of the scale of the company? How many employees? What kind of revenue?
We're doing 20 million a year. We're like a pretty much a regional brand. I think where people get pumped up with my story is I'm still self-funded. I retain 100% ownership of the company, and I started this out of my buddy's house with my last $300. So I had a lot of celebrities get behind me, a lot of free publicity. I had maybe one of the most iconic billboard campaigns in New Jersey for pennies on the dollar. I've just always found a way to move, and probably because I'm spending my own money, I'm not spending VC capital or venture. I'm not spending their money. So I've always found creative ways to get big bangs on low bucks, and that's really like the name of the game. So, as this is like a restaurant podcast, any restaurateur knows, when someone who's outside of the restaurant business goes into the restaurant business, you can tell right away. I mean, they're blowing out, they're spending $11 million on woodwork. They're buying all state-of-the-art equipment. They haven't even sold a meal yet. You're like, whoa. Like, I've always had the restaurant mentality, because that's my background. I have a restaurant background, kind of like, to dip your foot in the water, see what's working. And if it's safe, go all in, but don't, I think sometimes people fail in this space because they go ahead, they essentially sailors dive into shallow water, and by the time they realize they made a mistake, they're just dead.
Kayla, I love the fact that you're here. You're just as much as part of this, as much as part of the brand. I'm somebody that I wouldn't be where I am without my wife. She works in the company, she works in the family, she runs our Walchef Wolfpack. Can you bring us back to the dream and to the receipts that when you first came into this eat clean bro lifestyle?
Yeah. We've been talked about this in a long time. So I am not a natural born entrepreneur. I am not a risk taker. That's very much Jamie. I think why we work so well together is because I think that we work so well together because I know what my limits are and he has no limits. So I'm the one to always, reel him in or bring him back down to reality, or, and if the idea is great, okay, I like to execute. And I think what's really special about, working with your spouse is there's an understanding that although you're in this together, there can't be two lead singers to the band, right? So I very much work for Jamie, and it is his dream and his vision that we are both working to execute. But at the end of the day, it benefits both of us. Yeah, but that bag of receipts, I don't know why I thought this was such a good idea, but I really believed in him and I believed in his mission, and I went all in on it. And here we are 10 years later, two beautiful babies. And
Share the story. The bag of receipts. Was this the first date or was this second? I mean, when
No,
does,
so
when does the man
we-
drop the receipt bag?
we had already been on a couple of dates, and
Okay.
at the time I was actively pursuing a career in law enforcement. I wanted to be a cop. That was my life's dream. But we were probably 4 or 5 dates in, and we had something scheduled for a Friday night. And he called me and said, "Hey, sorry, it's tax season and I have a lot of stuff I have to get together for my accountant, and it's overwhelming, and I'm gonna have to cancel on you this Friday, but please, don't be mad at me." And I had just really been enjoying spending time with him. So I said, "Hey, I'm really organized. I would love to help you. Do you want my help?" I am straight A student, went to college, loved it. Jamie hated it, didn't finish. We're very different people. So I came and I met him to organize what I thought was, just, I don't know what I thought I was walking into, but he handed me a garbage bag full of receipts from the previous year. And at that point, I was like, whoa, all right, this guy may be really talented, but I think he was just so focused on his customers and his food that the back of the house stuff got put in a garbage bag. So we really bonded over, working together that night. And I got everything to his accountant on time. And that's when we really started to talk about, what it was that he wanted to do with the rest of his life and why this was so important to him. And although he didn't have all the answers and he might not have had all of his receipts, alphabetized and organized, it didn't matter because his customers were happy, his food was good, it was affordable, and people really believed in his product and what he was selling.
Jamie, I'd love for you to talk about the perseverance that it takes, because so many people, this is on Entrepreneur, millions of people are going to be able to watch this, listen to this, read the article. They're looking for inspiration, and you got knocked down. You got knocked down multiple times. I mean, according to what I've found, it was 7 times you were out of business before Eat Clean Bro got to actually building a business, a business that was paying the bills. even though those, you had a garbage bag full of receipts, those bills were paid. You don't get a receipt unless something's going to get paid. So
you gotta pay your bills. You know what, man? I wish, when it comes to perseverance, in 2012, Hurricane Sandy was a turning point in my life. Hurricane Sandy devastated me and my family. They lost my mom, my grandma, my uncle. They all lost their homes. It was a really terrible time. And I had given up on the idea of cooking. I had failed a bunch of times. And I was like, dude, there's just no way I could do this without a cash fusion, or I have no experience. I don't know what I'm doing. and like I had given up, and I went looking for a job, and then nobody would hire me. So then January 13th, 2013, my phone rang. It was like a Sunday, just staring at the wall. I was barbecuing. I'm not barbecuing. I was bartending. I barbecue now, but I was bartending Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So I'm like, damn, 26 years old. I'm like, what am I going to do? I dropped out of college and it was like really stressful. I was just like a pressure cooker. Like, I know I'm talented. I know I don't belong here. Like, I know I'm meant for more. And my phone rang, and it was my buddy, Matt Schultz, who I started cooking for in 2005. And he was the one who started it all on accident. He asked me, I was changing in the locker room. He's like, yo, man, what do you eat? I'm like, that's the original story. That's how it all started, was with Matt Schultz. So I had not talked to him 6, 7 years, whatever, years had gone by. The phone rings, January 2013. He's like, hey, bro, are you still cooking? And I was living at my buddy Paul's house at the time. I put my palm over the phone. And I'm like, yo, Paul. I'm like, yo, you think your parents care if I start cooking at their house? And so they were living in Florida, right? So like they were what do they call them, snowbirds or whatever. So like you live in Jersey on the in the summer and you go down to Florida in the winter. So he's like, nah, man, like do it. I'm like, I take my palm off the phone. I'm like, yeah, bro, of course I'm still cooking,
Of course.
I told a little lie. So I'm like, I had spent all my money getting suits for job interviews. So I had like $300 from that weekend, like right on top of the dresser. So I'm like, yeah, bro, like, yo, you got any other friends in the office that want meals? Like I was trying to like tick it up,
Yep.
upsell. And he's like, yeah, man, yo, just like, dude, I peddled, I got like 82 meals out that first week. And
82 meals. That's impressive. How many did he order out of those 82?
So I had a Rolodex. So like I had been cooking. So I had fans, I was on the street. One of the funny stories was that like I was boys with Mike the Situation before he was famous. So like, he's obviously a local legend here in Jersey, or he's not, he's more than local, but so that was one of my buddies that I was cooking for. So like I had a huge network, because before meal prep became what it is now, it was almost like you had a guy, like, I had a guy who cooked my meals. So like all the bodybuilders, the cops, anybody who was in shape had somebody that like cooked their meals. And that was like a side hustle. So like the food business was always kind of like my side hustle. I did it for myself. I add on people. So like I had a Rolodex of business. So I just started going down my phone, everybody's name with food, started shooting out texts. Yo, Jamie's cooking, right? Just like a club promoter, just sending out texts, getting texts back, writing shit down. I had 4 items on my menu, and I just started cooking at my buddy's house. Cleaned up the kitchen, put the dog outside, leveled it all up, and I started making food for my friends. And I took every dollar. I kept bartending, and I just saved everything. I lived like super low key. And the first 6 months of doing that, and that was the hardest thing I've ever done. I remember one time I slipped in the driveway on the snow, and I was so tired. I had my North Face. I'm looking up at the stars, and I'm like, yeah, I don't think no one's coming back. Like, I'm not going to get run over. So like, I just zipped the jacket up, dude. I just slept right outside in the snow. And then there'd be nights I'd wake up in the morning with like all the lights on, my clothes on. I didn't remember how I got home, because there was so much, I was working, I was bartending on the side, and I was cooking, delivering, and it's really funny, man. Like right before I blew up with all like the celebrities, I met Kayla like 2 weeks before that happened. So she's the truth. She really liked me before it all.
It's true.
And now a quick break from restaurant influencers to share an exciting new offer from our sponsor, Atmosphere TV. Go to atmosphere.tv/BBQ to not only get Atmosphere TV for free, but also our audience is given the gift of $200 in ad credits, as well as free activation. Join more than 40,000 other venues who use Atmosphere TV by signing up with the code BBQ at atmosphere.tv/BBQ. Keep guests entertained with Atmosphere TV because you have the ability to turn your promotions and your advertisements onto your television with this platform. The simple plug and play device lets you take control of the content on your screens. Keep guests entertained, engaged, and informed of real-time specials, career opportunities, and announcements that you can personalize within your own custom content dashboard. Tap into great channels such as America's Funniest Home Videos, Fashion, Throttle, Chive TV, sports highlights, Red Bull, Real Madrid, along with unbiased news and entertainment. There is something for everyone. Over 60 curated channels of short form, entertaining content to choose from right at your fingertips. They also have an incredible ad supported network that allows you to not only market within your four walls, but also locally or nationally if you desire. The platform gives you full control to dial in your marketing efforts. Please go and visit atmosphere.tv/BBQ and let them know Restaurant Influencers sent you. So when did the Eat Clean Bro? Because I'm fortunate that I've been able to interview hundreds, if not thousands, of people now with the multiple podcasts that we have. But you're probably, I'm almost 100% sure, you're the first brand that is a call to action.
So that is what is so. My dad, right? I didn't know what to call it. I was actually scared I was going to fail again because I had failed so many times. I was just happy to have a purpose in life. So I didn't know what I was going to call it. I actually didn't even want to call it anything. I'm like, just fucking call Jamie. You know what I mean? Like, why do I even need to have a name? Save me the embarrassment. I'll make your food, right? And my dad goes, why don't you call it Eat Clean Bro? Because he's like, that's all you say anyway. He's like, that's all you say. And I was like, I love it because it's easy to remember. It's easy to spell. Because my last name's Giovinazzo. Nobody could spell it if their life depended on it. Every single award, every single thing my name is on, except for my marriage certificate, my name is spelled wrong. So I'm like, they're never going to find that domain name. It's never going to be found. And I thought, wow. So my dad went on GoDaddy. He got me the domain name and it was available because there was nobody at that time who's crazy enough to call themselves Eat Clean Bro. So, and that's why the billboard campaign, there's articles written about me I never paid for, which that's the stuff I really cherish. Like when you get acknowledged and you didn't pay for it, that's the real win.
For sure.
Anybody can buy a cover of a magazine, that's something I won't do. So if you see me in the news, it's because I'm in the news.
It's because I'm in the news for real. Yeah.
But dude, I got lucky, man. And the whole thing, if you're ever in Jersey and you see my billboard, the iconic Eat Clean Bro billboard is actually an eyesore. So it's a call to action. That's an eyesore. That's graphically wrong. It should be blue with white letters, but it's blue letters with a white background. So it draws your eye. So it's an eyesore call to action, which for a billboard is the greatest combination you can have. So I got my billboards. I was blowing up on digital, on Instagram. So back to Mike, the situation. There was a company called Shreds. So in 2013, Shreds pioneered influencer affiliate marketing on the internet. So if you remember, pretty much, how a celebrity, everywhere you go on the internet now, somebody's selling something.
Yep.
They were the first ones to corner. I don't know if you remember them, but Shreds, they had every single fitness influencer on the internet. I mean, they had a chokehold on the game. They were in Jersey City. My buddy, and they were a bunch of Indian dudes. And my boy Sean, one of my good friends from high school, sweet Indian kid, never played sports, never lifted weights, never gave a crap about bodybuilding, was not fitness related. I'm scrolling on Facebook. I see Sean Dua checks into Shreds in 2013. I call him immediately. I'm like, Olympia's in Vegas. We're in Jersey. I'm like, dude, what are you doing at Mr. Olympia? That's just somewhere I would never think you'd be. And he's like, oh, I'm I'm the CFO of Shreds. And I was like, holy shit, man, really? He's like, yeah. I'm like, shit. I'm like, dude, I wish there was something we could do. He's like, yo, actually, he's like, Arvin heard of you. I had big street cred in Jersey, like big street cred. All right. Like that was like another unknown.
That's a big deal.
I had big street cred in Jersey. So he's like, yeah, actually, Arvin was asking me about you. He's like, yo, when we get back, you should come up. And I was like, oh, dude, I love it. He's like, yeah, bring food. The way Arvin had heard about me was Situation's brother, Frank, had saved all the containers. So their walk-in pantry was like thousands of black to go. And Arvin's like, dude, why don't you like throw those out or recycle them? And Frank's like, no, man, like, I don't know, I might need them or something. He's like, bro, like that's weird.
So Italian.
And yeah, seriously. So like him saving those containers got me an in with Arvin. And then I hit it off with Arvin, and then Arvin started throwing me bones with like all the most influential fitness people in the at the time. And then Massey, Manco Fit, Hispanic woman, biggest fitness account on Instagram at the time, celebrity trainer. She connected me with Lala Anthony. And then once I got hooked up with Lala, then like the ball just started rolling. Lala was honestly sent from God for me anyway, man. She passed me a lot of big touchdowns. And then that was kind of how it really, she posted me on Instagram. I got 40,000 followers in like 24 hours.
It's amazing.
We were, the phone shut down. Yeah. I mean, that doesn't really happen anymore with social media because it's so saturated. We're making moves, we're making adjustments. But like in the golden days, man, when like you got plugged by a celebrity, it was like stamped, verified, bang. It was big. I had at the time Kris Jenner was following me. I thought that was cool. We had a lot of cool wins, man. It's feeding DJ Khaled and Michael B. Jordan, all those guys. It was cool. A lot of cool stuff happened.
What I love about your story, it's something I was fortunate. I got to interview Rob Deerdeck recently, and he was talking about media is great, but people overthink media. And when we think about social media, the world that we live in, you always want that celebrity endorsement. You want somebody that's game changing for your business. It's only game changing if your business is ready. And your business was ready. You were able to capitalize, because if you get an influx of business because of that post, because of somebody, saying, hey, you got to come and try this out. If your team isn't ready to execute, like that's your Super Bowl, everything fails. It's actually worse.
Yeah. You gotta for me, it's funny, man. My dad taught me a lot of fundamental principles in life. Like, if something's wrong, fix it. So when that happened and we were getting bombarded, we got in front of it. Listen, guys, 40,000 fought, like we're doing our best. And like my whole approach to business is like, just keep them playing. So at the casino, they just want you at the blackjack table. So there was a lot of times, man, I had to give a lot of stuff for free because we made mistakes. A lot of times people would be like, oh, I'm backed by this celebrity. F you. No. I'm only as good as my last meal. Yeah, you know what? I got the most famous people in the world plugging me, but I'm really sorry I let you down. Here's your next order on the house. Here's your money back. Here's your next order on the house. And people are like, wow, here's this kid on top of the world, stopping to take time out of his day. I did get my legs blown off, but I was like, hey, I'm sorry. Here's your money back. Like I always treated my food. I always tell people like serving food is a sacred responsibility. So but I also believe people work hard for their money. So if you're giving me your money and I'm giving you my food, like it's a sacred transaction, in my opinion. Like there's no like a priest worships God. Like I am going to make right by your money, and I am not going to take that for granted. And I am never going to I am going to make mistakes. I am human, but I am never going to take for granted that you trusted me. You put your hard-earned dollars into supporting my company. So there were a lot of times we had to take some steps back and give a lot of stuff out for free and make right with people. But that went way farther, and it was a beautiful combination. There was no, like I said, dude, my beginnings, I failed so many times. I was so happy. The happiest I ever was, I mean, obviously with my wife and everything, but dude, I'll never forget the day when I lost my job bartending and I was finally able, I was paying myself like $500 a week, and I was finally self-employed. And it wasn't about money. It was about, wow, you know what, Jamie, you're not a failure. All your failures counted for something. And like, you're not a failure. And like, you have a purpose and you can do this. There was no one doing what I was doing, like when I was doing it. So it seemed so insane. Like people would be like, yo, people want cold food. Like you're selling them cold food. And I'm like, yeah, well, it's gotta be cold so it could last longer. And like, it was just like, it was a really uphill battle. Like I was ahead of my time. Obviously now with like the digital age, people are accustomed to doing this, but like, you know, even in 2013, I had started way before 13, but like, there was still just such a massive learning curve that nobody thinks about today. But man, like
it's incredible.
psychologically, that was like the greatest day of my adult life, was like, you're not a failure, and all the pain of failing, it prepared you for success. So like, that was for me, the turning point in my life where I was like, wow, like, thank you, God, like this all meant something. And when I think about people who give up on their dream and they have that regret and they never get to taste, you know, the bittersweet joy of your failures adding up to your success, that is, to me, man, that is like the saddest, because I'll never forget how I felt. I never want to feel like that again. And I don't think I ever will, because I got over that hump, and my hard work did pay off, and it mattered. And I needed those lessons. I needed to get my head knocked off all those times to become who I am today.
Kayla, I would love for you to give some perspective. You know, you mentioned reining Jamie in, and I think when I think of my wife, you know, I'm the one that has the big crazy ideas, but my wife she has to rein me in. She has to control our brand. She's the one that's actually, you know, making sure that, yes, this plane wants to launch, but we have to make sure that we're packed, we're prepared, we're ready for takeoff. Can you talk about some of the lessons that you guys have learned as you've scaled from where you started to where you guys are now today, you know, regionally and multiple, what are you in 15 different states now delivering?
A lot.
A lot.
I think that communication probably was key for us. So as we grew and we started taking on employees, you know, everything with Jamie has always been so informal. And obviously having a job is a very formal thing for many people. So just company culture and just sculpting your company into a positive, uplifting, awesome place to work. I think that's been probably our biggest hurdle. We had very, very rapid growth, especially in our beginning days, and just learning what that is and what that responsibility is like to employ so many people and be responsible for, you know, them bringing home, you know, money to their family. It's a huge responsibility, and I don't think many people think of it that way. So communication, obviously from the top down, is something that, you know, we've worked on a lot. We have 150 employees at this point, and just keeping
Wow.
everyone organized and informed and on track. I think that's been our biggest hurdle, and we've really mastered that today. But
Can I add to something? Can I add what she's saying? We spent a lot of money on consultants. So like, whenever there's like business owners listening, anytime something's broken in your company, it stems to two things: communication and training.
Yep.
Something's going wrong, it's because like there is a miscommunication and there's unqualified people. Like, it's so funny she's talking about communication, but that is literally like every company's and individual's like biggest hurdle. See, I just stepped in. She was trying to communicate.
Kayla, no, it's important, and I appreciate you guys being honest. And like, you know, like I said, my wife works in our business. We work together. We work on ourselves, and communication is always the number one. She can't read my mind. I can't read her mind, and she's my soulmate. So the more that we actually talk about the things that we're trying to accomplish, not just in business, but in our own household, the better off we are. It actually makes for a healthier business. You know, a lot of what we talk about on this show is you guys are in the hospitality business, you're in the food business, you're in the e-commerce business, you're taking care of so many people that are your clients, you're taking care of the 150 people that are your employees, but ultimately you guys have to take care of yourselves. And if you don't take care of yourselves, then you can't be good parents, you can't be good employers, you can't be good leaders in your community. And you guys do so much to give back. What do you do to set your own boundaries to take care of yourself?
So this is really funny that you should ask us that, because you're looking at like two complete and total polar opposites. I would say, and if you want to get really honest right now, I would say that I am plagued with imposter syndrome, success depression, anxiety, and I'm constantly worried about doing the best I can for everybody around me and being the best mother and being the best wife. And are all of our employees happy? Are our families happy? Are we taking care of everyone? And that plagues me day to day. And I would be lying if I sat here and looked at you and said that, self-care, I take care of myself. I work out. I obviously eating healthy is not a problem for us because we have access to great meals. But in terms of self-care, I think that's something that, and boundaries is something that I really struggle with even to this day. And I'll never forget this moment. I was 8 months pregnant with Santina, our daughter, our second child. And when I got the phone call that I had made the Forbes 30 under 30 list, and my first emotion, it was not joy, it was not happiness, it was, oh fuck, okay, I did this. So what do I do next? How do I impress everyone now? What do I do when I go into work today? Because this was huge and it was really cool, but shit, like, what now? What's the next list? What's the next hurdle? How can I impress everyone now? And I think that's why Jamie and I are a cool match, because he really does take care of himself and sets boundaries and is like, you're really good at that. And you're really good at taking a moment to say like, hey, I won today. Like, this is good. Or we didn't win today. I'll do better tomorrow. I think, being near him and being able to vibe with him definitely helps me to be a little bit more confident. But when it comes to that, like, he is winning in this department, and I'm glad to be matched with him so I can learn from that.
I really appreciate your honesty. It's why I love doing this show is, the people that we get on the show. Well, the truth vibrates the fastest. And, it's amazing to me that, the biggest celebrities in the world, the most successful entrepreneurs, CEOs of publicly traded companies, like, we all have imposter syndrome. We all think it's like, well, when is it all going to collapse? Or if I got this accolade, or I opened up this next restaurant, or I got, this piece of PR, like, now all of a sudden everybody's going to know, everyone's going to know that, like, maybe I'm not what I think I am. For us, it's, especially, Jamie, as men, I know I go through it, and I know your wife looks to you as a rock, but I'm guessing, from all the failures that you've had, it's easy for you to put on a strong front, knowing that deep down, like, it's on you. It's on you. Not only is, this company, but the family and Jersey, like, you're representing something that's so much bigger than you. And you guys have bigger plans than where you are now to, when we look back on this interview, we're going to look back 5 years from now and be like, did we dream big enough? Is that what we wanted? What did we want for our family? What did we want together? What kind of impact did we want to make? What do you want to make?
I am, so some of the best advice I ever got was from a farmer. And he said, he's like, you got it. You're going to grow. You're going to be successful. He said, just